Second child was rare in China because of the family planning, and I was one of them. I have never taken it as an honor or advantage to share with my friends, like, hey, I have an elder sister who was 10 years older than me, and you have no siblings. But in fact, I was told to keep it as a secret since my birth was illegal. My existence was against the policy, against the authority, and maybe against my own intentions. For one time, I asked my friend who was a single child in his family, how does it feel to be born as a single child? He said, perfect. I received all of the love from my parents. I felt happy when I heard it since he was my best friend. But I also felt sad to make a comparison to my own life. I had an intense relationship with my father, who daydreamed all day and cared only about himself. The professor had asked me to find wonder in my childhood. I searched aloud in the album, but only figured out that there was no photos of me with my father from my birth. Just trust me that he gave no love to me, and it was not realistic to believe the saying that, hey, your father loved you, but just in the way you can't see or perceive. It seemed that the whole family should work for him, and everyone in this family should function like the planet orbiting the sun, and he was the most selfish one. Everyone seems to owe a debt to him. I can't imagine why my mom gave consent to this marriage, but I guessed one can easily cover up his real face in years. My dad carried no responsibility as a husband in the family and as a father to me. I would admit that I was raised by my mom, since for years my dad gave no shit about me. Definitely, my dad didn't deserve anything, but gradually my anger was transformed into questions. Why they wanted me? And what is the meaning for me to exist in this family? And what should a family be like? For all the time I feel guilty about my birth. My mother had worked in government, and she had abandoned her career to bore me. From the other perspective, I destroyed her career. Also, I felt I had occupied the resources that could be distributed to my sister. Though my mom treated us equally without discrimination, and my sister was also sent abroad in her college. My sister, though she didn't speak it out, I knew she always thought my mom should give more to her. I asked another question to my friend. Would you accept a sibling? My friend said, of course not. I want everything. My sister would have the same mind with my friend. There was always a generation gap between me and her, so that we can't talk to each other. I should have bewailed, as an exception in this family, that without me, my mom would continue her career, and without me, my sister could have received more, and that without me, this broken family would have recovered into a harmonious one. And about my existence in this family is like a utilitarian use for my father, since if they had me, my grandpa would favor my family more. For years, I have reflected on the question why they have remaining the delicate relationship. Was it because of the simple little love, considering their children's childhood? Of course not. It was because the divorcement would make it a loss to his properties. But he wanted more. Every time he went home was for quarreling and nothing more. I had a conflict with him again yesterday, and this time I asked him sincerely that why you want me, and his reply was, because I committed the sin. Suddenly I'm freed. I'm freed from the shitty obligations. I'm freed from the guilt. But I still can't meet him. I can't resist my anger. Every minute I spent with him would only add to my hatred, and nothing more. So what should the family be like? I'm going to tell you a story to explain the relationship between me and my father. It was mid-March. I was in Queens, New York, in the department I lived in. There was a pandemic outside on the street. It seemed that everyone is included on the influence of the disease, and no one can run away from it. I was fearful that whether I can survive this pandemic, because it's crazy to hear every day people die. I talked to my dad on phone, and I said, I want to go back. And he said, to where? And then I said, back to home. And then he replied, you are in home. And at that time, I was so shocked. I was so shocked to hear that. I mean, yeah, I know I was in home, but not in this home. I want to fly back to our home where you, my mother, my sister, and I can have a union. I mean, at that time, everyone is freaked out by the pandemic, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do in that situation. But he said, yeah, I know you are safe in this home. Just don't come back. You're fine staying there. You have plenty of food, drink, and a reliable place to protect your safety. And they were all fake news on the television. You just won't die. I mean, I can barely find a word to describe my feelings at that time, and I only said, all right, and then I hung up. And there was just the ambulance stopping right beside my department. I mean, the disease is really close to me, and I know nothing to do. If I have a home that refuses my coming back, and a home which I depend solely on, and if I reside in another home that harmed my health, and if I was in no mood to find another so-called home, and then I was homeless, at least now I am. I know my father, he just didn't want to pay for the high expense of the air ticket. And it was my mother who finally paid for that. And at that night, I can barely sleep. There were ambulance stories on the streets.